deadlines were set and deadlines were missed. I admit to that, right? Some could be contributed to me and some could be contributed to other pieces, right?
Those words by Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely were aired in a Scripps News investigation in May, and some of them are now being cited in court documents asking a federal judge to find the city and its mayor in contempt of court after they say the city missed yet another deadline. The court motion also asks the judge to issue a daily fine of $500 paid jointly by the city and its mayor in his official capacity until Flint complies with its court-ordered deadlines to identify the full scope of its remaining work to replace lead drinking water pipes across the city. Scripps News reported this past May how nearly a decade after the Flint water crisis began, thousands of residents may still need their drinking water pipes inspected for toxic lead and other health hazards.
So what's the number overall that needs to still be completed?
Well, those numbers are, elusive to say. I don't want to be nailed down to actually giving a particular number.
In an April interview with Scripps News, Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely, who took over the city 3.5 years ago, repeatedly declined to share how many homes still need to be inspected for potentially toxic water pipes.
You want me to give you a number?
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000.
I give you percentages. More than 90% of this process has been completed.
More than 90% complete is also exactly where the city said it stood in this press release that we found from August of 2020, nearly 3 years ago. Our own Scripps News analysis showed the work on Flint's pipes in recent years has slowed to a crawl.
Now that we're getting down to the last few lines, they're very difficult to find those lines because we're so close to the finishing point.
But we told Neely about 7 different Flint residents who we discovered had repeatedly contacted the city, but are still waiting to get contractors out to their homes after all these years, including Adia McCullough. She told us that her 7-year-old son, Robbie, has had to drink bottled water his entire life while they wait for the city to dig underground and inspect their water lines.
They came and spray painted the pipeline, and they put little flags, and then they left and they never did the work. It feels like you don't matter. It feels like the world just keeps going on, and you keep going on. But like, everyone here is not important enough.
This woman's name is Adia.
After we told the mayor about Adia and gave the city her address and phone number in late April, he pledged to do something about it.
Now I know her name. Now that you're bringing it to me, I will send a team out.
We asked the mayor how long residents like Adia should have to wait for a team to assess their homes.
Going forward from today, how long should they have to wait before someone from the city either shows up at their house or actually starts excavation?
But once that call comes in and then we catalog that call, I would assume no more than 2 weeks before they can see some level of action. And thank you on behalf of Adina that you brought to our attention. And definitely we will be reaching out to her.
But more than a month later, we went back to Flint and visited Adia on her front porch.
No action still.
Has the city called you to set up an appointment?
No.
You've seen no action?
None.
And as Flint residents like Adia remain in limbo, we found another issue. On our visit this past April, the main phone line the city tells residents to use to call to get the lead out was not working.
The user's mailbox is not available at this time. Thank you. Goodbye.
When we told the city, a spokesperson promised a permanent fix. But a month later, when we sat with Tanya Burns, the Flint City Council member who represents Adia McCullough's neighborhood, we watched what happened when she tried to call.
The user's mailbox is not available at this time.
This is the one line. If no other line works at City Hall, that line should be working. There's no excuse for that. There's none.
Councilmember Burns told us she's become skeptical of the mayor's ability to get the job done and worries his leadership is alienating key members of the Flint city government, including the Department of Public Works, or DPW, which oversees the water system.
There's a lot of water pipes that need to get looked at in this city. Does the city have someone in charge of the Department of Public Works?
We currently do not have a DPW director.
What happened to him?
He quit. He left March 17th.
Mayor Neely has yet to fill that position. The mayor initially offered a follow-up interview with Scripps News, but after we raised what we'd learned since our last visit, a spokesperson emailed a statement instead, writing, "The city is trying to hire a new public works director and is inquiring as to why the phone line is not working consistently." The city also committed to finishing all of its remaining work by the latest court-ordered deadline of August 1st.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Meanwhile, residents like Adia McCullough continue to use bottled water each day as her skepticism about more promises coming from the city grows.
Honestly, I don't even have words for it anymore. Someone that's comfortable with letting people live like this, they're not going to hear someone like me anyway. Their lives are okay. They're succeeding. They're safe. What about everybody else?
Now, just this evening, the city responded in federal court telling that judge that this request to hold the city and the mayor in contempt of court is wholly without merit, and they said that singling out Sheldon Neely was inappropriate. Now, I can tell you this, though, in a major twist, we went back to that mayor, Sheldon Neely, and said one more time, what's up with Adia's case? What are you doing about her? And good news, Adia tells us that just yesterday, contractors showed up finally on her front door with an emergency order to finally fix her water pipes. So for that one resident of Flint, help is now finally arriving.
Yeah, Adia and her son, thank God. Thanks, Mark, but also thinking of how many other families might be in the situation. By the way, that court filing, what is the status? Could the mayor actually be held in contempt?
It's entirely possible. You have one deadline after the next being ignored, being missed by the city. So the judge could decide to take some real action here. One of the big challenges is who's going to pay for this $500 a day fine, and everybody is saying they don't want the city and the residents to suffer for this. So ultimately, what needs to happen is they need to get the job done. Chance.
I gotta say, a guy who always gets the job done here at Scripps News.